All right, welcome to Landslide News. It's a special Sunday edition that you've never seen before. Welcome to this program. Okafor, welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I just want to put everybody to spot. I wonder why they brought Peter Randy. I wanted to introduce him.
One God cannot do justice.
All right, I have in the studio Peter Randy, the doctor of electoral reform.
Doctor in practice.
Professor of practice.
Professor of practice of electoral reform.
All right, we're going to be looking at electoral reforms, and also we are going to look into what Trump just talked about Nigeria, that it's a special country. Peter, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here. I'm very honored.
Yeah, we too. We're honored to have you. Yeah, electoral reforms has been on the lips of everybody in Nigeria. Sometimes it looks as if whether the CSOs and the legislative arm, the executive arm, a lot of people don't give a lot of attention to it. Why do you think that is?
Because as a country, we have not actually come to the understanding of what elections should be and the consequences of not having good elections. And since we have been living a lie as a people, democracy is a system of government that is about social contract between the people and government. So you elect your government. So democracies are built on free, fair, and credible elections. It is the most important institution in any democracy, because that is the first way you hold public office holders accountable. So in Nigeria, what happens is for 29 or 65 years, we have been complaining or talking about the same thing. Any problem you talk about Nigeria today, you have said it before.
Yes.
Because the same circle of persons who caused the problem will recycle themselves. So you have 4 years of lamentation. They rig themselves back into office. You have for another 4 years. You subscribe for another 4 years. Until when you are able to vote for people and they know that power comes from you, then they can begin to mirror your aspirations. So once you do not fix that system, all of us will continue to experience victimhood. So a lot of people will say, oh, maybe it's just a part of it. Let us just manage and do. Unknown to us that is at the base of all our problems.
Okay, so let's look at the key indices in these electoral reforms.
Yeah.
Let's look at what are we asking for in electoral reform, because this same electoral reform was signed into law before.
Yes.
What are the changes this agitation is for?
In fact, there is a popular saying that if you want to know how corrupt a country is, look at the number of its laws. Laws for everything. The problem is in the implementation. Yeah. Because it is human beings that enforce laws. Yeah. Nigeria since 1999, this is the 6th electoral amendment we are having within 7 elections. So every time after election, we need to amend laws, meaning there is mischief somewhere. Yes. If you went by the 2022 Electoral Act, elections should have been free and fair. Everybody thought electronic technology would be the game changer. But however, the professor of glitches in INEC said there was a glitch, Mahmoud Yakubu, after receiving more than 313 billion for that singular act. And now you say that there was a glitch. The question is, what caused the glitch? Why should we not have further glitches going forward? Why should we not be able to investigate or audit exactly the companies who took the contracts? What did they do wrong and what could be done better? So the entire, demand now, one, it focuses on the integrity of the process from voter registration, the INEC register, to voting, to transmission of results. Because the INEC, the shrine of electoral rigging and malpractice is in collation centers. Elections, you can vote in the polling unit and say anybody win. Between there, when it leaves to ward collation, to local government, calisthenics and magic will happen. Then there is the issue of appointment of INEC chairman. If a man who is participating in a football match is picking the referee, is he not halfway rigged in your favor?
All this in the demand for the electoral reform.
Yes, there are also the call for independent candidacy, because the political party system has become so bastardized. There is almost no opposition in Nigeria today. What we have is the people's opposition. There is a deliberate attempt by the ruling, class to destabilize all opposition parties, and that is why you see everybody moving to one party. Why is everybody running? They'll tell you to connect to the center. What is in the center? Nobody knows. Insecurity, inflation, and all of that. So those are the demands. Mandatory use of electronic technology to insulate the process. Because even in the words of the former chairman, Yakubu, he said to reduce human interference. That is why you need technology.
But there's something Amukutan said during his Senate questioning. Yes. He said that electoral transmission was to monitor and to look at how the process is, not to give who win or who doesn't win.
Yes, I mean, it was to transmit results so that people could have access to real time.
He said it's supposed to be a guide, not a mode of decision making.
I think it is an academic exercise or whatever he's saying. Section 60, subsection 5 of the Electoral Act said the presiding officer will transmit results in a way and manner as prescribed by INEC. The question was, did INEC prescribe a way and manner? Yes. Paragraph 38 of the INEC guidelines clearly mandates INEC to transmit results electronically. But when it went to court, because the Nigerian National Assembly of politicians there, it's like a witchcraft coven. If we give you with the right hand, we take with the left hand, there must be loopholes. So the judiciary said, although it was an omission, it was not an omission to the Electoral Act. So even when INEC set guidelines for itself, which is a sub-law of a major law, the Electoral Act, the judiciary did not think that there was a problem to hold INEC accountable. So anybody who is trying to explain that, so what it is now is that let what is on the guidelines be moved to the Electoral Act and then amend the relevant part of the Constitution so that we now have even laws across board.
Yes. I was talking about, because you mentioned independent candidates. Let me just pick from, at least for that of being a governor, because I became very familiar with that because of what happened in Bayelsa State, where a lot of us felt that Governor Diri is actually not a governor, you know, because he's partyless. Section 177 of the 1999 Constitution, subsection C, made it very clear that to be a governor, you have to be belong to a political party and be sponsored by a political party. Now, if this Electoral Act is thinking of independent candidacy, are you going to go back to be able to amend the Constitution?
Yes. In fact, that is why it is going concurrently with constitutional review and electoral reform, because there is also a demand for ending all litigation matters. You know, that was where you started hearing of the talk of moving elections maybe to the end of the year, so that somebody is not sworn in and the person is still in the tribunal. So whatever relevant sections, you may likely not be able to amend the Electoral Act completely without amending the Constitution.
Exactly.
So it has to be done too.
You think the NAS we have today are open and are going to invest into amendment of the Constitution?
You know, the question why this is always a problem when we ask ourselves, will these people do it? The question should be, why should they not do it? How many are the persons in the National Assembly? 109 Senate, 360 House of Reps members, as against how many million people that are victims of their malpractices or dysfunctionality? So it is up to Nigerians to impress on the leaders to do what is right. Because guess what? There will be no better time. Who do you think? The worst case, the tragedy about Nigeria is that there's no worst case scenario. Because you think things are this bad does not mean it will not get worse.
No, since 1999 we've been moving backward.
That is how it is. Every president is the worst until they leave office. There was Occupy Nigeria. People thought Jonathan should move. Then Buhari came and told you that there's a level to incompetence and failure. Then Buhari leaves and somebody comes and they say we miss. Imagine what will make you miss Tinubu. Remember that there was an Ahmed Lawan-led National Assembly. Everybody said this rubber stamp is this. Then Fabio came and told you that we can convert it to the extension of the executive. So now the National Assembly is an APC town hall. So when the president go, they greet him with his mantra, on your mandate they shall fall. So that is, if you continue to wait for you to send people of character and integrity to that place, you need a system that will allow it. If you fail to impress on these people to get that system, they will be back. So it then means you just want to continue postponing the evil day. Let the persons who are determined to get change wake up and unite. Once the pressure is there, Nigerians have the power of the people and the people in power. Who should be greater? If we answer that, we will get what we want.
You are confident that the people we have today are going to be able to apply that pressure? Yes, we need that pressure.
Yes.
And nothing is going to happen until something happens.
Yes.
You think Nigerians are ready to apply that pressure, both at the constituency offices of these legislators and even at the National Assembly, like you were doing a few weeks ago?
Let me just believe that our common denominator, which is suffering and the pain that we are all experiencing, should be able to mobilize us enough as Nigerians, because you are just one emergency away in Nigeria from experiencing injustice or just becoming another victim of Nigeria. You see what we are talking about with insecurity. So it is up to all of us. Do we want to become accomplices to our slavery? Because at a point when you continue to cooperate with your oppressors, you are no longer a victim. You are now an accomplice. Yes, you aid and abet it. So if Nigerians are ready and we are truly meaningful about the suffering on us, I think that at this point everybody should be an activist and should be fighting for our lives to have the minimum value that a human life should have.
Okay, now people are very hungry.
Yeah.
How do they balance coming out to protest versus at least basic things like eating and doing all that? You know that just one day protest is not going to do this job.
No.
You need a sustained pressure.
Yes.
And Nigerians they can't afford being out of work. A lot of them is just from hand to mouth.
Yes.
They can't afford being out of work for 1 week.
Yes.
How do we solve this quagmire?
That is actually the plan. Nigeria throws a lot at you. The end point is for you to become very frustrated and disenfranchised so that you do not pay attention. And it is working. So everything you see, both the hunger, the poverty, the unemployment, is deliberate. So that a people who are dealing with so much, no social security, no health insurance, Nigerians have little or no energy to invest in something they believe can never work. To a lot of Nigerians, free and fair elections can never happen in Nigeria. So when you are talking about electoral reform, it's like you are talking above the heads of certain people. So that is what the intention is. But the question will now be, when you are under oppression, for how long do you fight for freedom? For as long as it takes, until you are free. Because deciding not to pay attention, you can still become a victim of a system you do not pay attention to. Nigeria can happen to anybody. Look at the Arise News person who was killed, so there was a Dr. Chinelu who had concluded her arraignment to Japa from Nigeria during the Abuja Kaduna train attack. She was even on Twitter calling for help. Some people were mocking. Unfortunately, she died. That was the trip she was making to come to Abuja and then leave the country. She had finalized. So Nigerians will know that not just protest. Those of us who are on social media, we are not just there for gossip, go to blogs, discuss things. This artist buy car, this one is doing BBL. Also invest time in things that bother your life. Look at America today. With all that Trump is doing well, some people felt that he was becoming too autocratic for they began No Kings protest.
Yeah.
They mobilize. It can begin like even NSAS on social media. When you see any person of conscience, both religious leaders, traditional leaders, should be able to speak truth. When the pressure is there, nobody follows these things more than the politicians. Once they see that a lot of people are talking and are paying attention, they begin to sit up.
But let's look at the National Assembly, for example. Let's come back there, because until the National Assembly are able to change this law, we're not going anywhere.
We are not.
This particular National Assembly, they are moving to APC, as you and I know.
Yes.
Do you think they will assent to this bill?
They will, because there have been some level of pressure on them. But let us be very clear, and as I stated earlier, nobody should expect that because certain laws will be passed, it is uhuru for elections. Elections will not automatically become free and fair because the Senate decided to pass electronic transmission of result. Electronic technology is something that people too can also compromise. There will be layers to certain things. Nigerians must know what we just want to do with these laws is plug every legal loophole against judicial technicalities. One of the most important aspects to getting free and fair election is citizens' participation. Nigerians should not feel like because the system has been rigged before, you should not come out to vote. Elections are rigged, especially when people decide to stay out. In 2023, according to INEC, 93 million people registered to vote. 87 million collected PVCs. The total number of people who came out to vote were less than 30 million.
Yes.
The present government is one of the most unpopular governments, whether you look at it by statistics or not. The people who voted against you are more than people who voted
in
for
fact,
you.
Fasola said it in their mobilization for voters. I mean, about 20.
He said, as APC, our vote has tanked.
It has tanked.
So why is the voters apathy?
So because Nigerians do not, in the words of one of the group of African or ECOWAS observers, they say that what they came to do in Nigeria was not election monitoring, it was crime watch. Imagine leadership that proceeds from a process of criminality. You cannot go through the window into a person's house and be claiming to clean the house. The process we get in is more important than whatever you go to do there. But Nigerians must know that when you come out en masse, if millions of people come, it is difficult for them to read.
Are Nigerians culpable?
Yes, Nigerians are. They have good reason to be. I mean, if you look at the generation, let us say the millennials and the Gen Zs, what exactly is the need for a Nigerian in that age bracket to be patriotic about? What did the country bequeath to me? All my life, I have known dysfunctionality. At least, even my father told me stories of how he was trained, my late father, of scholarship, of how he did this and all of that. I have never experienced all of I have seen injustice firsthand. I have seen my mother go through trouble because we lost our father and all of that. So when you tell me to come and begin to talk about Nigeria, I'm wondering what exactly to. So Nigerians may have good reason, but for as long as we are here, you can still experience victimhood. So you must encourage yourself. That is why when you come out, it is before in Nigeria, electoral malpractice is used to rig for popular candidates. When you know, because you remember the Morisiwu INEC, they will know that was why even Yaradua came out and said the elections that brought us were flawed.
Yes.
It was not because maybe free and fair he could still have won. He had a national appeal. So what was done then is that they just he go likely win. Father help and may go. But because we continue to aid that system, it got to the point where even unpopular people are now rigged into office. And then when you now have states captured, judiciary is now part of it, where the judiciary can take somebody who was told and make governor. Even it's part of our demands in the electoral demand. The judiciary should not be choosing leaders. You can declare a rerun, you can declare a translation. Nigeria spends billions to conduct elections, then everybody turns and wait for the court to pick our leaders. That is the democracy, the judicialization of democracy.
That has been Okafor's.
It has always been. I've been an advocate of that for like years.
It can be.
It is the most undemocratic thing to allow 3 persons, 5 persons, even 7 persons to pick,
to sit down somewhere,
to you bequeath a kind of the prerogative of voters to the person. It's actually an illegality. Let me see. Are you comfortable? Because that has also touched the constitution.
Yes.
Are you kind of hopeful that this between now and 2027, by belief, by faith, by empiricism, by any measure, that we are going to have a people's chosen president?
Yes, we will. In fact, a lot of things are already happening around that Nigerians should plug into. When you see all of these mass defections of people moving into the ruling party, it is a help to Nigerians. Is it help, I should call it? It is of advantage. It is an opportunity for us. What is happening is that the ruling party is in panic mode. President Tinubu is the only leader since 1999 who came to office and began campaign this very year he came into office. Come through the airport, you see door to door to door. It's only the only window they never pass. So what we are going to do as Nigerians is that let whatever that is your problem, allow them to group wherever they want to group. So if people who are destroying the country are aligning in one place, the people who are the victims of their destruction, when will you gather? So it's an opportunity for you for self-liberation or emancipation.
But just about every opposition political parties in turmoil as it is.
That is
the only ones that are not in turmoil are those that have not been rumored or blogged about that P2B or Jonathan is going to come out through that party.
Boss, there is no opposition in Nigeria. What will happen in 2027 is the people's opposition. It will be failed leadership against 200 million plus victims of dysfunctional and evil political class. They will have to find a way around it as Nigerians.
Okay, so I wanted to come to that opposition issue because right now it looks as if we don't have opposition. Now the opposition themselves, let's assume we have opposition party, PDP, Labour, ADC that just came on board. What have they done? I want to pitch them on electoral reform. Have they learned their voice on electoral reform the way they are supposed to?
Let me be very honest with you. From my own observation and what I have come to in this movement of electoral reform, the average Nigerian politician is not interested in comprehensive electoral reform. Yes. It is a situation of, I don't completely burn a bridge, I might need it.
Yes.
So reform, but maybe not completely.
Yes.
Because the average Nigerian politician still relies on some certain level of
rigging
because that's where they got
that is it. So when you see politicians, and then again there is a tendency, some of them have come out to say, oh, we want this, we want that, but on a normal ground, anybody who had contested election in 2023 and went to court saying you won, but they did not give you all you somehow, you should be at the forefront of electoral reform.
Yes.
You should be the one.
So it doesn't happen again.
So it doesn't happen
again.
That's
why I asked about the opposition.
So if there, for some reason you are not in support of it, then your guess is as good as mine. There is something you are probably not telling us. But then again, I want to move it away from political figures to Nigerians, because let us look at the people in opposition. For example, if Alhaji Atiku Abubakar does not become president of Nigeria today, what does he have to lose? He's the second highest employer of labor in Adamawa State after the Adamawa State government. One of the wealthiest persons in the country. If Peter Obi does not become president of Nigeria, what does he have to lose? He was a millionaire before becoming governor. A billionaire, a very wealthy man in his own right. Or Kwankwaso, a former governor, two-time governor that has whatever. If he moves to the APC today, he's likely to get whatever. So it is not about these persons. I don't want to center opposition around political figures. The lives of Nigerians, 18 plus million out of school children, child mortality, women mortality, ASU here and there, insecurity. Those are the people who should form a formidable opposition for our own lives.
That's Nigerians.
Can I take you on this, Peter?
Yes, sir.
Do you think ethnicity and religion has fabricated this opposition?
To a certain extent, yes. In the general analysis of it, is Nigeria a multi-ethnic, tribal, religious country? Yes. Do we have divisions? Yes. Is it as bad as it is made to seem? No. A lot of the disunity and division you see across ethnic and religious lines are handwork of criminal politicians. They weaponize those differences. The average Nigerian wants a better country to live in, where there is security. When you see politicians stealing money, embezzling funds and all of that, they do not know tribe or religion. The governor of your state daughter can marry the governor of Kano state and all of that. They harmonize. There is convergence. There is no disunity. But when you see them begin to stoke these embers of... In 2007, Buhari from Katsina picked Chuba Okadigbo. They call him the Uyi of Uyi from Anambra as his running mate. Yaradua from the same Katsina picked Jonathan from Bayelsa. Anambra people voted for Jonathan and Yaradua against Okadigbo and Buhari. A lot of Nigerians, even across North, are those ethnic sentiments. But when you have so much illiteracy, unemployment, and injustice, it is a breeding ground for you to now radicalize people. So you go to the mosque or to this thing, and then you begin to tell people, oh, it's along. Is the person in the North buying fuel cheaper than those in the South? We are talking about insecurity and all of that. People are being killed across borders as well. So among everything, people are suffering regardless of tribe or religion. So we can rather use it as a strength for those of us who knows that we are victims and not allow politicians.
Okay, if this indoctrination has not been successful, obviously we have more youth in Nigeria than these ones that are a kind of enslaving us.
Yes.
Why are the youths not coming out as a unified force, either for protest, for voting, for whatever political procedures? What do you think is inhibiting these youths? Rather, they are looking at Japa. I mean, no, you just gave an example of somebody who has completed a Japa arrangement, and Nigeria still happened to the person.
Sir, to be honest with you, the foundational basis of part of that problem is the fact that in Nigeria, there is nothing almost as an ideology of citizenship. Nigerians do not have something that calls them into national, identity. We are just splinters, expressions of different tribes. A Nigerian will first identify himself by his tribe before the country. So we don't see ourselves as citizens. We see ourselves, I'm an Igbo man, I'm a Gwarim, I'm a this man. Unlike other countries, even if you go to Ghana here, you see them, that sense of national, our flag, I'm a Ghanaian. So whether you are Chi, whether you are Ga, whether you are from the Volta region, it doesn't matter. So when you come to talk about coming together, there will be some of those differences. But even at that, it gradually comes together. But even when people come out to look at what happened during NSAS, when Nigerian youths came out to make a demand, what happened?
But there were some other people from the North too, that didn't buy into that.
Because the same way you talk about SARS, it is still part of the dysfunctionality of our system. The way the Nigerian police and SARS will operate in Delta is not how they operate in Zamfara.
Exactly.
So there is that still disconnect. So when people are held to different standards, and an average person living in Sokoto may not understand what NSAS protest meant.
Exactly.
They could not get meaning into it. So those who came out to even protest, what was the response? Live arms were fired at people who were protesting against police brutality. So you diminish a people. In fact, up till last this year, there are reports that people who were peaceful protesters were still in prison.
Jail.
So you are telling another person, say, make it come and come protest. Made my mama come and say, it no be your blood, Nigeria go take better see. So there is a lot thrown at people. So when you see Nigerians who are even patriotic, there should be a lot of credit given to them.
Okay, all right. I wish we could go more on this topic, but I'm going to switch right now to the other topic where Donald Trump has labeled Nigeria as a country of particular concern. I'm telling you, I'm quite a little bit disturbed.
Yes.
I have a different view.
Okay.
But I want to know your view.
Maybe we should know your view. You are my brother.
I'm a Christian from the south of Nigeria.
Yes, sir.
I don't think the only problem or the most problem we have is about religious killings.
Yes.
We have problem of, we just talk about electoral reform, rigging, people not being allowed to protest, and so many other issues we have. I wonder why the Christian connotation of Christian killings is coming in. I saw the line because we don't have a straight line on issues. People have been killing Katsina. People have been killing Zamfara. Of course, the peculiarity of people being killed in Jos, that's Plateau State and Benue State, is an underlying statement. But we have a lot of insecurity in our country. Why did the American government pick only on that one? If we have a better government, we won't have things like that.
Do you know, I completely agree with your submission. But then again, the question will be, if an international body is going to weaponize a problem that you have, can you as the government weaponize your own problem and fix it? Can you, if you end insecurity, will the US or any Western world have something to leverage on? What Nigeria is suffering is a cumulative, it is the chickens coming home to roost. Nigerian leaders, it is the evil that men do that is now living with them. And President Tinubu, who is a master strategist, will have to strategize to fix this one, because it will not go anywhere until we get to the root cause of insecurity. I agree that Muslims and Christians are being killed in Nigeria. The question first is, who is causing the killing? Who is killing? What is the root cause of insecurity in Nigeria? And unfortunately, it precedes President Tinubu's administration. And then again, so it now begs the question, at the height of insecurity under the Jonathan administration, it is figures like President Tinubu who began the religious connotations to those killings. He said to end the slaughtering of Christians. Then, because they needed Jonathan out of the way, he left. Buhari came for 8 years. People were buried in a mass burial in Makurdi. President Buhari never visited there. He said he sent a governor, the IG of police, he did not go. Nothing was done about it. What happened and what were the statements from the APC national leader, including the current president? When you see issues happen like that, in May of 2022, a girl, Deborah Yakubu, was stoned to death in Usman Danfodio College of Education, Sokoto. Nobody was convicted. The current senator from that place was the governor there, Aminu Waziri Tambawa. In 2016, Deaconess Eunice Olawale was killed in Kubwa. She's a Redeemed Christian Church of God member. The vice president of that administration is a pastor with the Redeemed Christian Church of God. Not one person was arrested or prosecuted. When you leave a track record and you make it seem that there is a deliberate attempt or attack that people cannot get justice, you now create the loophole for other people. And if what it will take for the president to address issue of insecurity will be external pressure, Nigerians are now ready to have that, because they want the insistent loss of life. And look at the mischief. President Tinubu, since 1999, is the first president that came to power, and a commander-in-chief decided to outsource the Ministry of Defense to the National Security Advisor. Guess what ministry the president is overseeing? Petroleum.
Every president in Nigeria from 1999 has overseen,
but they have
except Jonathan as minister. Jonathan made a substantive overseeing minister for the Ministry of Petroleum.
Okay, that was Desiani.
So Buhari, who was a retired military general, oversaw petroleum, not defense. Obasanjo had only group managing director of
no, he was the minister.
He was the minister, good GMD of NNPC. So that is why the issue of insecurity, because I mean, when there was a hit in the time between 2010, 2011 and all of that, remember when the then current president, Ayo Orisejafo, he went to the US, to the United Nations. There was even a clamor that Christians should protect themselves and all of that. There was an attack at that time at a certain faith and religion. There were videos where terrorists would hold people and tell them to denounce their faith, or they are executed point blank. So it is a culmination of a lot that has happened. Have people from the other religion been also killed? Very well. Insecurity is killing everybody. What have leaders done about it? That is the loophole you have created for a foreign government to intervene.
Yeah, all right. You see, if you look at what he referred to, January 2014, on the 29th of January 2014, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he wasn't the president at that time, wrote this on the Twitter. It was published everywhere. The slaughtering of Christians worshippers is strongly condemnable. It calls to question the competence of Jonathan to protect Nigerians. If you look back in America, the other day I was telling you that every American president will work based on interest of American voters. This Freedom of Religious Act 1998 is an act in America. Every year they have annual reports, which the president himself delegated to the Secretary of State, of those countries that where they are having problems of freedom of religion. So it is not only peculiar to Nigeria. They do it every year and report to the president. If by now, by their report, let me tell you, America happen to have a kind of system that they rely on certain data to write any report. Let me tell you what is happening to us. It's like when you say somebody is witch hunting, and why witch hunt, you happen to now find a witch.
Yes.
So,
that is it.
so how are you gonna escape from that? So the best is to not be a witch.
Yes.
You know, if in the best interest of America, they think they should make a law that will help them track religious persecution all over the world. They know that religious persecution can cause a problem at a remote location.
Yes.
If you are here, if you are seated in Aso Rock, there is insecurity in Lagos. The president is not going to wait until he gets to him. If he has capacity to nip it in Lagos, you will nip it. That's what Americans do.
Yes.
If they have a problem elsewhere internationally and they believe they have capacity to nip it, they will nip it. But the way we need to look at it is that America has no history where they have deployed force to solve that problems.
Yes.
They have either used economic sanction, some kind of diplomatic sanction.
Because there's a military connotation to deal.
That's what there's a chance of saying if the government does not move fast.
Okay, so
it becomes on our government now to move fast.
It is the pressure
this is my own as a political science student and also an international relations student. Sovereignty of Nigeria belongs to Nigeria. I think it calls to question for this country or the leaders of this country to show character and competence in leadership and make sure they address issues.
That's right.
But for them to say they want to come into Nigeria because they don't have the interest of Nigeria at heart. The first
no, you didn't say they don't have the interest of Nigeria.
No, I'm just saying as an analysis.
Okay.
No, because I know that it's not the interest of Nigeria.
It's the American interest.
It's an American interest.
Yes.
They don't go into any place they don't have interest. A country is developed internally and not externally. When the people in government right now boast of people coming to invest in Nigeria, there is no amount of money or resources, human and material, that we don't have in this country. We need to first start developing our country internally. Until that is done, this government will not be able to.
Peter, do you think this government is going to rise up to this security challenge?
Exactly.
The question is there a political will? And what is the sincerity of peoples? Let us be honest. There is a track record, and that is why this issue have gotten to where it got to. A former, I think the first Nigerian Minister for Defense, T.Y. Dajuma, stood on a podium somewhere in Taraba, in Wukari or Jalingo, and said the armed forces, they collude. They collude with the terrorists. Nobody till date investigated or even questioned him and said, what exactly are we talking about? Fast forward to this year, the National Security Advisor Alhaji Nuhu Ribadu in Plateau State admitted that the weapons that are being used to kill people in places like Plateau and Benue are weapons that were stolen from government armory. What exactly are we not saying about insecurity? How many times did the Buhari government tell Nigeria that they were going to publish the list of Boko Haram sponsors? What happened?
8 years gone by.
8 years gone by. And then you said there should be no external pressure. The last time President Tinubu traveled for his, he goes on, they have different names, working stay, staying off, and all of that. The last time he went for his 2-week sojourn in France, within a space of 2 days, more than 100 Nigerians were killed. And the president of a sovereign nation was on vacation. And then you say that when pressure comes from external forces, Nigerians will not take it. What everybody wants is this stop of this needless
like I said, these people understand that insecurity, this is a globe.
They know.
It's only geography. You say this is Nigeria, this is insecurity anywhere.
Can affect the insecurity.
They have interest across the region. They know that whatever that destabilizes in this region, they have already... Issues are ongoing in Niger, in Mali, and all of that. So this is also, an extension of certain things that Nigeria as a country needs to put. It is a clarion call on our leaders.
The biggest black population.
Let me let you know my greatest fear. That's why I want you to help us make good of it. That was why I said America, they've solved so many problems with military power. They have it. But for these religious freedom issues, they have never done that. Do you think if the president does not attend to this insecurity as quickly as possible, America might deploy their arsenal of helping to pick the president? There's a way this foreign country interfere with the people and they help the people select a president. It happened. In Obama, in Buhari's time, there was this story that Obama helped in the war of helping to.
Obama came out and made a broadcast that Nigeria is turning the next chapter. It was obvious that they needed
Nigeria should vote for
that. Do you think this government should be scared about that? Because Nigerian, we still want to be able to elect our leaders ourselves.
In any case, the APC is a fundamental failure. It's the the SI unit. In fact, what APC is providing for Nigeria is the textbook definition of how not to govern a country. Nigeria under APC exists so that other nations can learn how not to govern their nations. So whatever that is the case, by 2027, Nigeria must self-liberate. It is only God and nature giving opportunity to the innocent lives to have a means. But let us also underline the factor that as a country, we do not want religious war or civil war amongst ourselves.
Yes.
Nigeria, we must manage our issues in such a way that our national unity and territorial integrity is sustained, but we get the leadership that we deserve. I do not foresee a situation where the US president can decide to order boots on Nigerian soil. They can use proxies and they can use diplomatic pressure, as you have said. The onus is on the Nigerian government now to begin to toe the path of nation building and begin to mirror the aspirations of the people that they want peace. Not going through this wild goose chase of telling us you are building coastal highway with the professor in practice, building this. It is people who are alive that use infrastructure. Where there is no peace, you cannot be talking about a foreign investor.
Exactly.
So you must come to the issue of, is it not a shame that it is taking an external government to put pressure on a sovereign country?
I wrote that
to fix security in their country. The constitution of this country says the security and welfare of the people will be the primary responsibility of government. So your primary responsibility, the person who is reminding you is a former. Well, if you can take loans from there, you should be able to take advice from there.
Well,
let me give you this. Do you think our insecurity that continues to persist is lack of sincerity on the part of government or lack of capacity?
It is a combination of factors. This thing has gone into the extent of the high level of injustice, illiteracy, poverty. There are economic factors that makes it easy for radicalization. There is also the corruption on the part of law enforcement and even the military. You heard of the stories of the Colonel Abu and all of those people, and listen to some of the stories of our gallant officers who were fighting.
I lost a friend in Medina.
And look at some of the issues of even some of the service chiefs that had problems with the presidency within some administrations that just left. And the stories. So it is a lot. Nigeria will need to, when they say you face your ghost or whatever yours, and tell yourself the truth. What exactly is the problem? Where do we start to get the solution? Once there is sincerity of peoples and political will, it can be sorted.
All right, I can see the passion to which you talk about Nigeria and the problem that there and the solution that can be given. But you will just hold on. We'll be right back in a few minutes. In 30 seconds, we'll be right back.